I wasn't planning on making this video for a little while, but I thought today is the perfect opportunity because we're gonna go look at a house today. Good morning, or perhaps good afternoon. My name is Jenna and I have been in international living here in Germany since 2014. So I wasn't planning on making this video for a little while, but I thought today is the perfect opportunity because we're gonna go look at a house today. And while I'm about to head off right now, I'm not gonna bring you with me for security and privacy reasons, but I will come back and explain the process of what the process is like when you buy a house. And we've purchased a house before as an investment property, so I've already been through this. I just thought today would be a great refresher and a great opportunity for me to share this information with you guys. So we're back from the appointment and I think that it went really well. We might make an offer on the house. We're up against a few other people, which is quite common here in Germany. I'd say that the market is densely saturated with people who are interested in buying, but sadly there's just not enough houses on the market at the moment so that everybody ends up competing for the same house. So finding that competitive edge is really important. We are going to try to do that in the next few days and make a final decision. But again, as I mentioned, today is the perfect day for me to refresh and go through some of the most important things for you to know before you actually buy a house here in Germany. So first things first, you are going to need to know where to get a loan. You want to be able to get the best rate, so comparing different banks and different options is a great idea. I will also include some links below from different websites that actually offer support in English as well, which is pretty neat. But otherwise, just going into different banks, you can start with the bank that you're registered with, if the bank that you're with offers loans. Otherwise, you can check online for different options or check some of the links that I've included below in the description. So getting that loan might actually be one of the more difficult processes to make here in Germany, and that's because you need to prove that you're generating enough money, to prove that you're not planning on retiring soon, if the loan is going to take a while to pay off, and just really finding the right company or the right bank to provide you that loan with the best going rate. I would say step 2 would be to analyze the land register. And by that, I mean you can actually go to the building authorities, or here we call it the Bauamt, and ask them if there are any rights of passages or other entries that other people might have access to your property, because that's really important to know. And then, once you've figured all of that out, your third step would actually be to make the offer. And if for some reason somebody does have access to your property, perhaps it's the city or the fire department, these are all reasons that you would want to offer less to purchase that house than perhaps you were willing to pay. So agreeing to a price and then offering that price would be the next step that you're up against in order to buy a house. Step 4 would be to find a notary, and this is quite simple. I know in Düsseldorf there's quite a lot of notaries. Sometimes it takes a little bit longer to make an appointment with the notary, but if you can hold out, they can usually get you in within a few months. And you can also ask just to be put on a waiting list in case any appointments drop out, that you could potentially take an appointment that's earlier on. And so basically what happens at the notary, I've been through it before, so I can give you a little bit of a heads up. You will literally go through the entire sales document of the house, which for us was like this big, and you sit there, and as an English speaker who speaks German but is not quite up to par with business German, this can be a little bit stressful because you're either sitting there falling asleep, not listening to what you're supposed to be listening to, or you're racking your brain trying to translate all of these words, some of them that you might have never heard before. So if this is going to be a problem, you should also make sure that you hire a translator to come with you to the notary, because of course this is such an important factor, because what's in those sales documents might be really important for whether or not you want to purchase the house. So of course having somebody sit there, translate everything to you, might make the appointment twice as long, longer than it already will be. However, it's definitely worth checking into. Step 5 would be not to forget that you also have to get out of your rental contract if you are currently renting a place here in Germany. They usually require 3 months notice. Some contracts might differ. It just depends on what they've put in your rental agreement. For us, it's 3 months notice, so we would have to let our landlord know 3 months ahead of time that we're moving out. If for some reason you want to move out sooner, sometimes they will allow you to move out sooner if you help find someone to rent your property next. Step 6 would be on your actual move-in day, or the day that you actually get the keys to the house, which is one of the most exciting days when it comes to buying a new house. You are going to have to make sure that you get all of the necessary documentation you need in order to be the official owners of that house. And when we purchased our first home, it was really like a thick binder of different documentation, different rental contracts, the different layouts of the house from years back, different approvals that they might have gotten from the building authorities. Absolutely everything was included in this really thick binder, and that helped us moving forward to know what we can and can't do with the house. And we had a massive box of keys. It was a game to figure out what went where, but making sure that you get all of that at once is also very important. I would also mention that as soon as you've moved into the house and you are using that electricity and that gas, it's important that you go to the meters. Usually it's either in the main floor or in the basement. Check those meters and write down the numbers that they are at when you move in, because of course you don't want to be paying for electricity and gas that was used by the previous owner if they've documented a different number, or if the actual electricity or gas companies haven't switched it over quick enough. This can be a really key tip to saving some money when you move into your new house. Step 7 would be to do all of that paperwork that you've probably already done, even in a rental contract, and that is figuring out your electricity contract, making sure that the contract from your rental agreement or from your previous house has now either been carried over or canceled. So making sure that you have everything ready to go in the new house, making sure that the garbage cans are ready. So if you need a brown bin or a larger cardboard bin or whatnot, seeing what the owners before had and what you might still need is also a good tip when you're moving in. And of course, you can't forget that you also have to deregister and re-register to your new address, regardless of whether you're moving cities or just moving within the town. And that can usually be done at your Bürgerbüro or Rathaus or civil office in the city. You probably already know by now, if you're looking into buying a house, that that is where you need to go in order to register for your new address. And then step 8 would be move-in day. So this is a good opportunity to get to know your neighbors. I find that in Germany, they're not as perhaps overly friendly as we are in Canada, where you bake a cake and you show up at their door with a nice basket of goodies and say, hey, I'm your neighbor. But you know what? Why not? I mean, you don't have to go overboard like perhaps we do in North America, but it is always nice to say, hey, this is who we are. Let us know if you ever need anything. We're here, just to get on the right track, because as many of you probably already know by now, there are many Nachbarstreits or neighbor fights or arguments that tend to happen here in Germany. So to avoid getting off on the wrong foot, I would say just give a big hello to your neighbors, be nice, be friendly, and get settled in and have some fun in your new home. So I hope that this helps you in the decision making of purchasing your first home here in Germany. There are a number of other things that you might need to know, but as mentioned, I think that these 8 steps are probably the most important steps, at least to get started. And of course, there's many other tips I could give you in order to find that dream home of yours, but this video is to help you when you found that dream home, that you know the proper steps to take moving forward. If you have any questions at all, you can feel free to ask me in the comment section below. I can usually have some sort of personal experience or personal story to answer your questions, as we have been through this before. So I hope that I'm able to help you. If not, I will definitely find the right people to answer your question. Otherwise, if you've liked this video or any of my videos before, please make sure to subscribe and give it a thumbs up if you'd like. Also, click that bell notification for more updates and more premieres coming your way soon. That's all for me. Vielen, vielen lieben Dank und bis später.